Gail, I absolutely love your happiness word. It is joy. Tell us more about joy and happiness to you.
This could be kind of nitpicking, and words mean different things to different people. In terms of my spiritual path, like I've found that when I think of happiness, I think of, and again, it's not hard and fast, but it's something that has meaning to me. That when I think about happiness, I think about, oh, I got what I wanted and I'm happy. And when I don't get what I want, then I'm not happy. Trying to live this more and more, that life and fulfillment really is not about getting what we want and not getting what we don't want. That's a very superficial level because most of the time we don't get what we want, in the sense that we cannot control life. Joy to me means that I'm feeling fulfilled, and I'm feeling fulfilled because I'm in harmony with all that is, kind of the Tao. It's how do I fit into life? Like, this may sound crazy, but when you think of a leaf falling from the tree, when it's falling down, the wind will carry that leaf and it will land wherever it's supposed to land. But the way we live life is, life has a certain flow or a certain path. But when we get afraid inside, we're always trying to control life. I mean, who isn't? It's just part of the human condition. When I let go of trying to control life and I'm living in harmony with life, then the joy wells up inside of me. And it's so much more than happiness could ever be. It's almost like two dimension as opposed to, existential dimension, if that makes sense.
Well, it actually does make a lot of sense.
It's just words, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could say, and that said, I could say, oh, I feel so happy, but what I mean is the other, so it's just sort of paying attention to the vernacular, where be happy, get what you want, control your way to happiness. It doesn't work. Believe me, I think I've tried, but I'm learning, getting wiser.
What I visualize is like that personal inventory. When you have those moments, when you actually have those mindful moments and look around, and it doesn't matter if you're at home or one of my favorite places to be at the beach, and you're standing there for just that moment. Everyone's moving around you, everybody's doing their things, but you take that moment to go inside and you're like, this is really cool. I have this moment and I have so many things that I've worked for, I've created for myself. That joy can just bubble up inside me. That's what I
And
see.
it's only in the moment when you can feel it, and I think that's also what power is. True power, again, it's connected to that joy, in the sense that when we're going with life, then we're really powerful, but when we're trying to control life and almost go against life, that's not power, that's control. And again, it's, you could nitpick words these days. People have such different meanings for words, and especially when you get into the spiritual, the spiritual realm, every different things mean different things to different people, but it's, what you know and feel inside.
Is there anyone in your life that has taught you about bringing that joy to yourself?
Yeah, I have a spiritual teacher that I follow, Michael Singer. That's the name he goes by. He's written the book, The Untethered Soul. That was the bestseller that he had. He has since had another book, but I actually met him about 30 years ago. I was living in a yoga ashram. I picked up and moved in because it was important for me to do that. And I met him there. He shared about his understanding of life and power and everything we're talking about now. And I forgot it. And then I left and I went and I lived my life and did all these things. And he came back into my life, meaning that I started following him again and listening to his talks. I mean, I'm doing the work. Nobody can do the work for you, but he's the perfect teacher for me.
That's incredible. I mean, it is a neat journey though to find your own joy. When you're working with your clients, How emotional is that journey for them as they're opening up their stories to you?
The author that I'm working with now, there was a lot of trauma. It's very, 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 very deep story. There's some abuse, sexual abuse. She was sharing it with me. We were going along, and I just couldn't believe what she had been through. But, I've got my agenda. So I got my questions, and she's saying these like unbelievable things. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going and going, going. And then finally, one day, it was like, I was just sobbing, sobbing. We were there on Zoom. I do it all on Zoom. And it was like, I just let it out, and it was a very beautiful moment between the two of us.
That's what I was just thinking is, you're telling their story, so there's must be an empath in you that has to kind of fill those shoes and know what they're going through to tell their story.
Yeah, I think it's compassion. I mean, anybody, if you heard what she was telling me, it was just incredible. But it was interesting because when I started crying and I'm sobbing, she just was like looking at me, wipe a tear, and she just said, "You're healing me. You're healing me." I mean, it was incredible. It was really incredible, and it's just an understanding of story. Like you have to know when you're done. You have to get the story. I don't know why, but it's like I just know what the story is, or when we're done. Fine, okay, we got it now. I mean, there's still sometimes you have to get a little bit more, but in terms of that narrative arc, we're done now. We got all the information.
Look at you, you're bringing the power of joy yourself into someone else's life. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I feel really blessed.
If you had to give advice for someone getting in tune with themselves to find that inner joy, what advice would you give?
Get in touch with the part of yourself that wants that more than anything in the world, because there's going to be so many reasons not to, so many fears and so many stressors. But that's the whole journey. It's kind of what I said before, that Earth is a place where souls are sent to evolve, excuse me, but resolve too, but only if you want it more than what the distractions are going to be. I mean, why do people become addicts? And whether you're addicted to a drug or food or even your phone, it doesn't really matter. The addiction, it's powerful. You know what I mean? When we're addicted to something, it's like those neural pathways are carved to like the least resistance. It goes that way. I mean, we've been addicted to our mind and our thoughts and thinking that our mind knows, that our mind is God. We've been doing that our whole lives. There's no way that we will be able to get beyond that unless we want that more than the power of that that's making us keep going in the other direction. We're addicts. We're addicted to our minds and our emotions.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
We're trained to be addicted to our minds, Go do this, go do that, be successful. This is what it means. We listen, we're brought up with all that stuff, from our mother's knee, giving up our own power, which comes from knowing that we are connected to that which is greater than ourselves, which is the opposite of doing what other people tell you so you can be successful.
Gail, if you could give the gift of health, wealth, or happiness, which would you give and why?
So I actually answered this before in a different way. And what I would like to give somebody is the way to get all three at the same time, and they don't have to choose. And that is really to discover your spirituality, or discover your connection to that, your soul, or that which is greater than yourself. Because when you do, you will have, health, wealth, and happiness beyond measure, because there's a whole different way of measuring those things as opposed to what we were brought up to think that they mean, which is kind of what we've been talking about. So I would give them that yearning to connect with their soul or spirit.
And next, we have a question from the previous guest.
What choices have you made where you let your curiosity guide you instead of your fear, and what was the outcome?
My husband and I were having some issues, and we recently worked them out. And it was because both of us, we really did our own inner work to be able to come to a new place. And it was letting go of my position and my stance only, and being open to hear what he had to say, and also knowing that he was doing his inner work as much as I was. And so I think the curiosity part is really remaining open and letting go of, well, I'm right, that kind of thing. And it really transformed our relationship. There were some issues that we were having, but we were able to work them out.
Gail, I am attentive to your fulfillment and your joy. Thank you for bringing it today. You are amazing. I already knew from the times that I've, met you on Zoom before that you have this beautiful energy about you. And I want to thank you so much for bringing it today and sharing your story with others. Thank you.
You're so welcome, and back at you, girl.
Subscribe and click the link below to find out about bonus tracks and how to join our community.